For the longest time, I thought it was just
Grease.
And then someone told me it was water,
And I was like, I don't know if that's better or for worse.
Exactly, like, okay, why does he do that? Okay. Sure, to be wet.
How do you feel about today? What do you want to do? You want to walk? You want to practice?
I will do whatever you don't want to do. Okay.
Okay. Same thing as yesterday. We'll do bow poses. What do we do on Monday? Thigh stretches, bow poses, pigeon, forearm stand, that sort of stuff. So you can give some assists. Hi, Nikki. You can give some assists in any and all that you see. Locusts.
Yeah, locusts.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I know that one.
And then the bow pose is pretty much similar, where you hold your hands on the feet.
Okay.
And then you tell them to push up into you, and you very gently pull them back to lift their chest up. But if at any point you're like, this doesn't feel right, you can also place a fist between their heels and tell them to squeeze in, and that'll help. You can do that in locust too. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, great. Great. Ooh. How are you doing? Good.
Your hair looks so curly.
She got washed. She got oiled and washed. I didn't realize the sports was on. There's a lot of room in class today, so feel free to get spread out, be anywhere you want to be. There should be, as of right now, there should be plenty of room unless people sneak in for post-class stress break. Post-class? Post-game stress break. Yeah.
There you go, that's helpful now.
I also realized that class is on election day, and I was like, I know it's needed.
Yeah, no, I feel like more people.
Yeah, I know.
I had to go to the office that day, and they were like, feel free to come in late, please.
I know.
They're like, we would appreciate if you came in at a time. My grandma was like in the hospital. She like had a surgery, and literally like right after all she wanted to do was watch the Phillies. And the girl was like, oh, like, do you want like the pain medicine? And she was like, no, because I want to stay awake for the game. And I was like, she literally had brain surgery.
Oh my God.
And like would not take pain medicine because she wanted to watch the Phillies. And I
You
was
should
like,
send that in to them. And see if
yeah,
they can-
my brother like tweeted one of the announcers and was like, oh, can you like give her a shout out? She was in brain surgery for like 8 hours, and then woke up the next day and just like wanted to watch the Phillies.
Oh, wow.
She's like 85. Wow. And
Did they win?
Not sure if they won that night, but I told the nurse, I was like, if they're losing, just give her 2 hours.
Yeah.
She was like, okay. It was so funny. Like all she
They're losing right now.
Okay. Good to know. Okay,
It's early.
yeah, that's not as bad as, you know, they're in New York right now.
Oh.
So
How many do they play?
it's best of 5.
Oh.
And they're 1-1 right now.
Oh, okay.
Right. Games I think have been like really quite tumultuous.
Like they're fighting?
No, like it's like they've just like been not doing great. Like the second one they like I think
I see.
the first one was really bad.
I see.
They were like winning the whole game, and then in like the last one the other team scored 5.
Didn't this happen last year too? Weren't they like in the? Okay. Okay.
Everyone in the city is.
I feel like I've heard this story before.
You'll probably hear it again.
Made it back.
Oh no.
From North Jersey, so I guess you can't blame her, but they won the first game, and I was like praying for you. She was like, this was never supposed to happen. She's like, I did not think they were gonna do well.
God.
Like I didn't know I was gonna be dealing with him. So upset.
Cannot imagine. I went to a ballet class on Sunday for the first time ever.
Do you go to Koresh? Where'd you?
I went to Amy Novinsky in the Bach building.
Oh, fun.
I was astonished at how close to alignment yoga so much of it was. I had never even touched ballet ever.
Yeah.
So I was like coming in like, I don't know what this
Yeah.
is. Incredible. Like we were like just like talking about basic stance and I was like,
This is it. I know.
This
But
is
your feet
awesome.
wildly turned out.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
turn out, which we will never do here, and I hope we never do because wow. But like it was, I was like, I'm gonna use this in my class.
How long was the class for?
It was an hour and a half.
Wow.
And it was totally beginner, so she like spent the first half hour describing everything, which was amazing.
Yeah, because it's a whole different language.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a whole different language, but it's so similar.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was like blown away.
That's
And I
so
was like, I
fun.
wanna talk with Misha about it.
Tell me where I've been thinking of, my words are not forming. I did ballet forever,
Really?
all throughout college, and I like haven't done it since I was 25. But I'm like, so I was thinking, at Swarthmore actually, one of the women who's in the department, she's the ballet instructor, and I was like, should I go to this and just like flop around?
Yeah, flopping is fun.
Yeah. But what's this place? What's Amy?
Amy Novinsky is
No.
the teacher, and
She has a studio there?
there's a studio. It's on the 6th floor of the Bach building. It's got like a view of the city line. It's so nice.
Oh.
But yeah, she does like a bunch of different levels of classes.
Yeah.
So, I doubt you need the.
No, I need beginner because I'm
There's
also like,
beginner,
can I do this without turning my feet out because it hurts my knees
And,
and my hips.
Oh my god! Like, after
But
that
I
was
love the
fucking, like,
jumping portion when you like swing your legs around. I'm like, this is, yeah.
Yeah, so but yeah, it was really a cool.
But you're gonna use some of the cues in class.
I think so.
Mhm.
There's a lot about like
Mhm.
about keeping the.
Because you don't want to be here.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So like that was so like the way she described it was so helpful to me.
That's
She was like finding the bottom of the rib and then just like knitting it
Yeah.
together, but then like the like pelvis stuff. I was like, this
Come
is
on.
Tadasana, like this is amazing.
But it's nice to hear
Yeah.
it in different movement styles to be
Yeah.
like, maybe this language works a little bit better.
Definitely, yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, if you ever want to,
I
it's
do
like
want
$20
to.
for a dropping class. Like it's like so easy to do. So.
Okay. I have to like, there's like 2 more weeks after this next weekend of teacher training. It's when life like settles a little bit.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like,
Oh yeah.
that
your,
is the
your
time.
weekends are.
But it's so fun.
Of course.
But I'm like, every time Saturday comes, I'm like, Saturday off, I have to lie down. 1, 2. Hi. Hi, Emily. Good. Lots and lots of room today, y'all. We're just waiting on a few more folks because there's activities happening in the world outside. So you can stay where you are, you can spread out, grab any space, but we'll use all of our props today if you don't have those. Kayla and I can bring those over to you, but we're going to get some time to roll so you can grab some therapy balls, blocks, blanket, a strap. And if you'd like to, you don't have to, but if you'd like to use a bolster for Shavasana, you can also grab one now, or I can bring one to you later, so you can have a little extra cushy rest towards the end. When is daylight savings? Oh, we still have a month. Okay. I keep thinking it's going to be like in a week.
Still feels like, well, it is getting.
I know. How often do they play? Every day? Depends on where they are. Sorry also for asking you all these scores questions that I could easily.
have like 10 people back there, I swear to God, watching it. Anyway, they were playing it today and tomorrow, and then maybe Friday, depending on how the series goes.
Oh,
So like it's basically just like a couple days in between.
Wow.
Normally, 'cause
And then they get a little break.
then they get a little break and then they'll play the next series. Whoever, if they.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Yeah, no, nothing. Phillies. Yeah. Baseball. Hmm.
See, that was me 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Somebody did to me. I don't know what you're
I think the only way that I adapt to when sports games are going on is when the Eagles are doing something. I'm like, maybe I should teach eagle pose in class. But that's pretty much it. So maybe in January you'll get some of that. Hi. Come on in, y'all. We'll get started. Oh, he has his own show? Oh, yeah. The Gritty Show. Mm-hmm. Who's the fanatic? Okay. Yeah, I was telling Kale the only updates of the sports I get are the next day on social media. And I know you guys were saying like these past games have been up and down, but the internet makes it seem like they've all been just up. Like we're always winning, so that's great. Okay, take your time getting anything. If you need any extra props, call us over and we can definitely bring you some. But it's great to be with you all. Hi, Amy, come on in. I know. For those of us that are new to one another, or it's been some time since we've seen each other, my name is Anisha. Kale is here with us. We're so lucky to have her. And I'll be practicing from the mat so folks at home can have a visual, and Kale's going to be walking around. So use her to your advantage, pick her brain, ask her any questions. She might offer some assists, and those assists are never poses that contort your body into ranges of motion they shouldn't go in. It's usually just placed to invite more space and more breath. But if at any point you see her coming up and you're like, nope, tell her, please go away, no thank you. We take no offense whatsoever. It's always completely in your control. So that's where we'll be. How are we feeling today? Any requests? I have an agenda, but if there's anything that you need or your body's desiring. What? Oh, sorry? Huh? Folds. A lot of folds. Okay. Okay, we can go there. I like this. Waterfall pose, not that I know of. We'll put a pin in it. I'll look for it next week. Waterfall pose, I wonder what that would be. Just like somersaults? No? I'll think.
Like supine L pose. Is that not called waterfall pose?
Maybe.
I don't actually know.
Okay, Kale's saying that supine L pose with your legs up the wall might be waterfall. I'll take it.
Don't quote me.
All right. Forward folds, wild thing. Great. We're going to do some back bends today. So great weaving in and great counter poses to what we're moving towards. But we're in week 2 of the stories of the goddess. So for all month, hi, come on in, of October, I've been sharing stories of this divine goddess because it's her holiday. It started on October 3rd and it goes for 9 more days. We're right in the middle of it. And it's the 9-night, 9-day celebration of the goddess called Navratri. And now when we talk about the goddess, first of all, the studio is named after not just Queen Village, but the 3 main deities in the yogic tradition. There's Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom. There's Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance and beauty. And then there's Durga, who we'll talk about today, who's the great mother, the warrior goddess. And while they are all separate characters, you see them as separate statues and pictures. The idea is that they're all avatars of the same energy. In the world that we live in and the world that these stories that I share with you are all about, the world exists with an infinite amount of energies, one of the energies being the masculine divine, that more Shiva energy, and the feminine divine, the more Shakti energy. And so the best analogy, two analogies that helped me kind of understand what this was, where if you think of a bowl of water the solid container of the bowl, that's that masculine, divine masculine energy. It's something that you can see, you can hold, that can take shape. And the water in the bowl is the feminine divine energy. It's formless, but it creates movement, life, breath, and abundance into anything that it touches. The other analogy, if it helps, that we talked about last week in teacher training was if you could imagine a prism or like a disco ball, I guess, is the modern day equivalent. And you see a disco ball without the light. It has mirrors, it refracts, it holds shape. That's that masculine divine energy, something that you can see, you can touch. But the light that comes through, that starts to fractal, that's the feminine energy that creates even more abundance and splendor and beauty than there was before. So I'm mentioning this to you today now because it kind of weaves into our story that I'll share with you. But neither can exist without the other. We all have infinite qualities of both, that masculine divine, the feminine divine in each one of us. They just come out at different forms and times when we need them the most. So today's story starts off, as most often of them do, once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was a pair of two demonic brothers. And all the stories start with demons who are creating havoc and chaos. And now these two demonic brothers, Shumba and Nishumba, they were tasked with the role of conquering worlds and universes. So their general sent them off and said, go forth, create a demonic army, bring back anything good that you find, and keep expanding as much as you can. And so these two brothers took their task very seriously. They took over kingdoms, communities, universes, planets, until one day they finally stumbled upon the foothills of the Himalayas. So in India now, the Himalayas are in like the northwestern coast, eastern coast, northeastern coast, and it's this lush, fertile ground that inhabits and is this the birthplace of so many of these stories that we talk about. But in the foothills of the Himalayas, this was the home of Parvati. And now Parvati is the householder goddess. She's the one that looks most like us on human form. Most of the goddesses have multiple arms, between 4 to 20. She's the one who looks like us, who wears plain clothes, who walks around in her home taking care of everything she needs to take care of. So these two demonic brothers come to her. They see her and they say, wow, you're the most beautiful thing we've ever seen. You got to marry our general. That's all you're good for. You got to marry him. And she says, okay, but the only way that I'll do that, I've taken a vow, and the only way that I'll do that is if I defeat whoever I marry in battle, if I kill them fully in battle. And so the two demonic brothers take that task and they say, okay, we'll bring the whole army back. And very quickly they come back with an entire army, and the general is standing on top of the mountain. And Parvati sees them coming. And as she sees this demonic army coming, the story goes, she frowns, and from the wrinkle in her eyebrow emerges Durga, the second version of herself. And now Durga, if we remember from last week's story, she's the goddess that rides on the back of a lion or a tiger. She has 10 arms, and in each one of her arms, she's holding a different piece of weaponry. And all of those weapons she takes and enters the battlefield and starts to very quickly destroy this entire demonic army. And while she's destroying them, she says to herself, okay, I feel okay, but I could use a little bit of help. And so she frowns, Durga frowns, and from the furrow in her eyebrow emerges Kali, this other avatar of the goddess. And now Kali is the one who you often see with her hair fully out. She has a necklace of 1,000 skulls. Her tongue is always out, rolling out of her mouth. That'll be pertinent to next week's story. And she's the one who represents this unbridled ferocity that exists in each and every one of us. They call to her when things have hit the fan and she needs to come and sweep up house. And so now in the battlefield, there's 3 of them. There's Parvati, the householder, who's standing in the threshold. There's Durga, the warrior goddess, who's standing in the middle of the battlefield. And there's Kali, the ferocious, who's circling around and starting to consume and digest and destroy this entire demonic army. So very quickly, all of the goddesses destroy the demons, they slay the 2 demonic brothers, and the rest of who are left kind of retreat until next week's story when an even more evil demon comes and they have to do something else. But I love sharing this story each and every year because there's so many things that become revealed as we continue to tell the stories and bring them into conversation. One of which, that'll tie into our practice today, is these goddesses, you think of them, and for the sake of the story, I tell you that they're separate characters, separate versions of themselves, but in fact, they are all the same energy. There's a part of the story where one of the demons, when he's being killed, he says, "You didn't do anything good. You had so much help of others." And the goddesses look at him and says, "We're all different versions of the same self," and they all go back into each other's foreheads to emerge into that one divine energy. And so it's such a sweet lesson to be able to remind ourselves that there are infinite versions of you that exist. There's versions that you know really, really well that have brought you to where you are. There's versions of you that you don't even know yet that are still growing and becoming. And the capacity that we have to be able to shapeshift and change and meet anything that we encounter where we are is such a human condition. It's such a phenomenal gift that we each possess. So as we practice today, we're going to go through a few rounds of not necessarily demonic poses, but poses that cause some heat. They build some energy within ourselves. And you'll hear me ask this question a few times, which is, which is the version of you that comes up in each one of these rounds? No wrong answer to those questions, but see which version of yourself begins to emerge. So take breaks. I'll turn the fans on, sip water, modify, lay down whenever you need to, but take your time to pace yourself, because the gift of this practice is that we don't just get today, we don't just get next week, we have lifetimes to be able to see how we move through this. So let's start together whenever you're ready in a comfortable seat, however that looks for you. You're more than welcome to start lying down. You're more than welcome to sit cross-legged or up on your knees. You might sit with props underneath your hips, our modern day tools to help create more space in ourselves than there was before. And as you find your seat, let your eyes be softly closed or softly open so you can listen for your breath. When we close our eyes, it gives us a moment to see ourselves more clearly than before, to see those infinite versions of yourself, the you that you were, the you that you are, and the you that you are making space to become into. They all exist here. So with your eyes soft and that attention turned inward, can you continue to listen for the sound of your breath, that thread that connects every aspect of yourself together? Let each inhale begin to deepen as it moves from the nose, down into your belly, and up into your heart. And as you exhale, let the breath move up and out through the very top and crown of your head. Continue with a few more of those breaths, just moving at your pace, letting each breath move in, back, down, and wide. And each exhale offers itself up and out through every fiber of your being. Each breath slowly dissolves the day and afternoon that was. Each breath lets you arrive to where you are now. And each breath that comes after makes a little more space for what has yet to come. So as we start our time here with one another, we'll take 3 more rounds of that same breath, followed by the sound of 3 ohms. The sound to invoke blessings upon ourselves and one another. You're more than welcome to sing along or simply listen as the sound washes its way over you. But give yourself a moment to place your hands to center anywhere that feels for you, on your body or in front of your heart. As you wait for your next inhale, let it fill you up. And exhale to offer the breath out. 2 more times on your own. Inhale in for Om. Keeping that connection to yourself as best as you can. Let your hands release. Gently blink your eyes open. And let's start in tabletop to begin to link breath and movement together in a few rounds of cat and cow. So as you make your way to all fours, you might have your blocks framing out the front of your mat. Perhaps you use them as we start to move around. But spread your fingers, tuck or untuck your toes behind you, and start to round and arch your spine, really moving with your breath. Let's go for 5 or 6 breaths, just working at your own pace. Let your eyes even close or soften to a point, so you start to move from a place of what it is that you desire, of what feels sweet to you, rather than what others are doing or what you think you should be doing. But take this time to start to notice what it feels like to not just move your body independently, but how your body and breath can start to harmonize together to create more space. Take one more slow round of breath in and a longer breath out. And then when you find your next exhale, take it back to table. Find your way to your hands and your knees. Walk your hands a handprint or 2 forward in front of your shoulders. Walk your knees back behind your hips, and with your toes tucked under, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Take as much time and as many breaths as you'd like to find your way there. You might pedal your heels out one at a time. Maybe you soften and straighten your legs. But just take notice of what this first downward dog feels like. What version of yourself meets you here where you are? Can you remember your breath just like you did when you were seated a moment ago? A longer breath in and a deeper breath out. And now when you find your next exhale, lift your heels high, soften your knees, peek forward, and 1 foot at a time, slowly walk your feet up towards your hands to come into your forward fold. Wait for your inhale as you come up halfway to lengthen, grow long through your spine. And exhale to fold, bowing into yourself. Take a full breath in to rise. Stand down through your legs. Reach up and touch the sky. And on your exhale, let your hands come down by your sides. With your feet under your hips, take a big breath in as the arms go forward and up. And on your exhale, let the knees soften as you fold over yourself. Take the whole breath in to come up halfway. Grow long through your spine. And on your exhale, plank pose. Plant your palms as you walk your feet back. With your knees down or up, take a full breath in here and exhale to lower all the way down to your belly. Wait for your inhale to rise for cobra or baby cobra. Really press your feet down into the earth. And on your exhale, we meet in down dog or table or puppy pose for 3 steady breaths. That breath moves first in the direction of your heart, the very center of your being. The heart then begins to awaken and illuminate your mind. And the mind inspires the full agency and clarity of your body. And so even in all of these versions of yourself, can you feel the thread of your breath, taking a longer breath in and a steadier breath out? And when you find your next exhale, no rush, lift your heels, soften your knees, and come forward to the top of your mat, your standing forward fold. Inhale brings you halfway up to lengthen. And on your exhale, fold as you bow into yourself. Take a breath in to rise, stand down through your legs, reach up, get taller, and exhale to bring your hands down by your sides. Let's do that one more time. Really follow this whole breath more than my voice. Inhale to reach up. On your exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale brings you halfway up to lengthen. Let the balls of your feet be heavy. And exhale to step it back to your plank. Take a full round of breath in. And on your exhale, lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Wait for your inhale to rise for Bhujangasana, cobra. Hug the shoulder blades together. And as you exhale, take it back to downward facing dog for 3 more slow, steady breaths. Every time you inhale, can you feel your hands heavy on the earth and gently hug them towards each other from right to left. And now as you push your palms down and forward, lift your hips up and back towards the wall behind you, creating more space for more breath. When you find your next exhalation, lift your heels, soften your knees, and come forward to the top of your mat, standing forward fold. Inhale brings you halfway up to lengthen. And on your exhale, take your time, fold as you bow in. Take a full breath in to rise, stand down through your legs, reach up, get taller, and exhale to release. Let the hands come down. Make an X with your forearms, favorite arm on top. And as you bend your knees, sit your hips back, bring your palms to your inner thighs. And now give yourself some resistance. Press your skin to your muscle to your bone, and use your hands to roll the inner thighs down towards the earth. Feel the inseam of your pants spin down. Can you keep that as you stick your tush back, create length in the low back, and now lift up through the chest. You can stay here with your hands spinning those inner thighs down, or keeping that memory, you can reach the arms up to the sky. But offer it to your breath. Take a deep breath in, down, and wide. Stay for your exhale. Let your hips get heavier as you lift your heart up to the sky. On your next inhale, come all the way up to rise. Reach up, touch the sky, get taller, and exhale to fold, bowing in towards yourself. Keep your right foot forward. Step your left foot all the way back to catch your lunge. And now lower your left knee down onto the floor or a blanket for some extra padding. Once that knee comes down, walk your hands up onto your hips or onto the front thigh. And now feel that back knee in space. You might even bring your left hand to the back of your left thigh to give yourself a little sensory feedback. Use your left hand to spin your left inner thigh up to the sky, like the inseam of your pants. See how that rolls the left hip forward. And now lift your chest, take a big breath in. You can stay here, or maybe that right arm reaches up to the sky. Maybe the left arm reaches up to the sky. But keep feeling that back leg. Lift your left inner thigh towards the ceiling. As you look away from the ground, take a big breath in. And on your exhale, bend 1 more inch into that front right leg. Let it get heavier. Now slowly release your hands back down to the floor. We'll step it forward. Lift the back knee. Take all the hops you need for the left foot to meet your right. Inhale to come up halfway to lengthen. And on your exhale, fold, bowing in. Bring your feet 1 or 2 fist width distances apart. And as you bend your knees, sit your hips back into chair pose 1 more time. If that X in the forearms helped, you can bring the opposite forearm on top. But think inner thighs towards the earth as you lift your chest up to the sky. Hands to thighs, hands to hips, arms overhead, wherever you are. Take a big breath in, down, and wide. Stay for your exhale. Let the hips get heavy as you lift your heart up to the sky. Now on your inhale, come all the way to stand. Grow 1 inch taller. And as you exhale, fold and bow in. Second side, left foot forward. Step your right foot back to catch your lunge. And now lower the right knee to any padding that you need. As you climb your hands up onto your hips or the front thigh, My tendency is when the left leg is forward, my hips often open to the right. So it might help if you bring your right hand to the back of your right thigh. Think like you're holding the inseam of your pants. And as you roll the right inner thigh to the sky, see how that wraps the right hip forward. Now look away from the ground. Stay here. Maybe one or both arms reach up to the sky. But offer it to your breath. Take a big breath in, down, and wide. As you exhale, think right inner thigh to the sky as you bend into that front left leg. Now on your breath, release your hands to the ground. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Step the left foot back to meet your right and take notice of what you feel from side to side. Now on your inhale, come forward to plank pose, the top of your push-up. As you exhale, lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Bring your hands off of your mat onto the floorboards. Give your hands some extra space. You can be on your fingertips or on your ridge tops. And now as you press your feet down into the earth, take a breath to lift up into this baby cobra. See if you can look down to the floor for a moment. And as you press your feet down, feel those ribs. Can you slide the bottom ribs back? You'll feel the middle of your back broaden. Now as the bottom ribs slide back, press your feet down, hug the shoulder blades together, and then maybe slide your head back so your head is over your heart. Take one more breath in, and on your exhale, release. Lower all the way to the earth. Tuck your toes, plant your palms under your shoulders, push the floor away from you, come up to table or plank, and on your exhale, we'll take it back to downward facing dog. Did that cobra feel different for anyone? Okay, good. If it didn't, no problem. But if it did, also great. We're going to try it again in a couple of different ways. So when you find your way to down dog, take your time to lift the right leg up and back. Bend your right knee and open up through the right hip like you're foot high-fiving your friend to the left. Now notice if that left shoulder wants to dip. Can you push through your left arm, lift the left shoulder up, tack your left hip back, and then let your left heel get heavier to the earth. On your inhale, square the hips back off, look between your hands, and step it all the way through to catch your lunge. Spin the back foot to the floor, and on your inhale, rise for warrior two, facing the long edge of your mat. Let the right knee and the right toes point ahead, and as you look at your right heel for a moment, see if you can, without moving it, squeeze your right heel an inch to the left, to the middle of your mat, and then use that to guide your right knee open towards the right pinky toes. You might feel that in the right butt cheek. Now look away from the ground. Reach out through the arms as you take a big breath in. Stay for your exhale and bend one more inch into that front leg. Now let's move with the breath. As you inhale, straighten the right leg. Reach up through your arms. Exhale back to warrior two. Descend. Twice more. Big inhale. Breathe into the belly. Breathe into the chest. And as you exhale, descend into the front thigh. One more, scoop up the air between your hands as you reach up. And on your exhale, bend into the front thigh. Now flip your right palm to the sky and make a big arc to reverse, tip up and back. As you reach back through the right fingertips, can you slide the ears back to lift your chin? And as you reach back through the right hand, bend into that front knee and thigh. Inhale brings you all the way back up through center. Press the right leg straight. Turn your right toes to face the long edge of your mat. And as you exhale, hinge at your hips. Fold over your legs as your fingertips come to floor or blocks underneath your hands. Now, tiny bend in your knees, especially if you know if they lock. Feel those feet on the ground and give them a squeeze in towards one another. Try to hug them in together. As you pull your feet together, take a bigger breath in. Stay for your exhale. You might soften your elbows as you bow in towards yourself. Okay, let your head stay heavy and low. Turn the right knee and toes to catch your lunge. Frame out your right foot and step it back to downward facing dog. Pedal your heels one at a time. Notice any difference that you feel from one side to the other as you listen for the breath. And now one more time together. Inhale through to plank pose. On your exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Wait for your inhale to rise for cobra. Can you press down through your feet, slide the ribs back, hug the shoulder blades together, and then slide the head back to curl up away from the earth. And now on your exhale, take it back to downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Wait for the breath in as you float the left leg up and back. Bend your left knee. Open up through the left hip as you foot high five the friend or your wall to the right. Now see, can you push through the right palm? Lift your right armpit away from the earth. And as if you had another hand, can you tack your right hip back as your right heel gets heavier to the earth? Now inhale to square the hips back off. Look between your hands and step it through to lunge. Spin your back foot to the earth and wait for the breath in to rise. Virabhadrasana 2. Good. This will help us later as you look at your left heel. Gently squeeze your left heel to the right. And into that resistance, guide your left knee open as you bend into the left thigh. Now look away from the ground. Stretch up through the crown of your head as you take a big breath in. Stay for your exhale and bend 1 more inch into the front leg. Move with your breath as you inhale, the left leg straightens, reach up. On your exhale, descend back into warrior 2. Big breath in, grow taller, breathe up into the heart, and exhale to let the front thigh descend as the crown of your head grows tall. 1 more, big breath in, and as you exhale, descend into the front thigh. Now flip the left palm to the sky, go up and back to reverse as you reach back through the left hand. As the left fingertips grow longer, can you slide the ears back? Bend into that left thigh as you stretch out through the left fingertips. And now inhale to come all the way back up. Press the left leg straight and turn your left toes to face the long edge of your mat. We'll take a shoulder stretch with this one. So maybe you grab a strap between your hands to give your chest lots of space, or interlace your fingers at your low back. But start with your elbows bent. Hug your shoulder blades together. As you inhale, lift up through the chest. And on your exhale, fold as you reach your arms up to the sky. Now, tiny bend in your knees, especially if they lock. Tiny bend in your elbows, especially if those lock. And now as you create some resistance, hug your feet towards each other. Pull your strap or fingers apart and let the shoulder blades come together on the upper back. As you take 1 more breath in, stay for your exhale. Let the top of your head get heavier to the earth. Maybe the arms reach overhead towards the long edge of your mat. And now slowly release those hands back to your tush. Ditch your strap to the side if you have it. Turn the left knee and toes to catch your lunge. And we meet again in downward facing dog. Step back through the left foot. Pedal your heels 1 at a time. Notice any difference that you feel. And now on your inhale, take it forward to plank. We'll meet on our bellies. Lower all the way down to the ground. Stretch your arms alongside of you. And flip your palms down to face the floor. We'll come up into locust pose for a breath. So before we lift, your legs don't have to be anywhere near touching, but can you hug them energetically towards each other? And now shrug your shoulders to the ears. Hug your shoulder blades together. As you inhale, lift your head. Lift your heart, float your arms up off the earth. And exhale to let the legs lift up and away from the ground. Energetically hug your thighs towards each other and think inseams, insides of your pants up to the sky. As you hug the shoulder blades together, lift your palms 1 more inch, take a big breath in, and on your exhale, release, lower down. Rest on one of your cheeks. You can make a pillow with your hands as you rest on your forehead. But as you close your eyes, take a breath or 2 to notice which version of yourself reveals itself to you. The beauty of the story is you can take all of these characters as separate than us. But all of these divine energies, they were created as reflections of us. We created them. So every version of the divine is a version of you. You are the householder. You are the warrior, you are the ferocious, and every character trait in between. So as you come back through center, bring your hands to either side of your chest, tuck your toes under, push the floor away from you, take it back to table or plank, and on your exhale, we meet 1 more time in downward facing dog, hips to the, well, many more times, but 1 more time for now. Take a deeper breath in and a longer breath out. Now on your next inhale, lift the right leg to the sky. We'll come into either pigeon pose or lizard lunge. If pigeon, for any reason whatsoever, doesn't feel supportive on the right knee or hip, you can bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand. But everyone come up onto blocks or fingertips out in front of that right foot. Look over your left shoulder and see what's going on with the left leg. I usually have to walk mine more to the middle of my mat so it's in line with the left hip. But as we come in for the thigh stretch, let your left knee press down, hug your left knee forward, and now bend your left knee to lift your left toes up off the earth. You can be here with your hands on blocks or fingers, or as the right hand stays down, reach your left hand out and around to hold on to the left foot. Good. Every inhale, can you gently hug the left knee forward? And now, like you did in the cobra, slide those bottom ribs back towards the wall behind you. Hug the shoulder blades together. See if you can look away from the floor as you take a big breath in and a longer breath out. Now on your inhale, take care to slowly release the hold of your leg. Not quite done yet. Lower your forearms to the floor for a moment. Interlace your fingers. Tuck the left toes, lift the left knee up off the earth, and now slide your right leg back to meet your left for a moment in forearm plank pose. Knees down or up away from the earth, but feel like your legs could hug together to become one. And as you stretch your tailbone towards your heels, slide your heart forward to grow longer. Take a bigger breath in and an even longer breath out through every direction of you. Take one more. Breathe into the belly. Breathe into your heart. Stay for the exhale. Can you lift your head so it's in line with your heart? And now lower your knees to the floor. Lower your belly. Lower your chest. Make another pillow with your hands. And take a breath or two to rest. Feel the beating of your heart underneath the breath. See if you can uncurl the fingers. Soften the jaw. Let your tongue release away from the roof of your mouth. As you slow down your breath, let it broaden into your belly as the low back expands. Breathe into your chest and let the belly and chest expand to broaden through the back of your body. And if you're on one of your cheeks or on one of your palms, turn to the other side and take one more full breath in. And an even deeper breath out through every direction of you. Okay, one more side to try out. So after a few breaths on the ground, hands come to either side of your chest. Tuck your toes under, press the floor away from you, table or plank. And on your exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. From your down dog, second side, lift the left leg up. Step your left foot through to pigeon or lizard lunge. It can be different or the same, depending on what you got happening in the knee and hip. But as you come up onto your blocks or fingertips, peek over your right shoulder and just see if you need to walk your right foot an inch or two to the middle of your mat so it's in line with your hip. Now with your right knee down, hug your right knee forward. Feel your hips lift up and away from the earth. And now bend your right knee, lift your right toes up off the ground. Keep your hands on the blocks, or for the thigh stretch, the left hand stays down as your right hand reaches around for the right foot. Good. As the heel comes towards your tush, can you slide those ribs back and notice what that does in the left and the right thigh? Now hug the shoulder blades together, slide the ears back as you take a bigger breath in and a longer breath out. Now on your inhale with care, release the hold of your leg. Last time, lower your forearms down onto the earth. Take that awkward thumb or pinky on top. And as you look at your wrists, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee up, and slide your left leg back to meet your right for forearm plank, last and final round. As you bring your feet hip-width distance apart, think tush towards your heels and heart forward. Now change nothing in your forearms. Press the right forearm even further into the earth. Pivot both heels to the left and toes to the right. So your upper body is in forearm plank, but your lower body is in side plank. Can you push down into the right forearm, lift your heart, and feel your belly turn from right to left. Now inhale to lift both heels up, back to the sky, last side. Heels to the right, toes to the left. Push the left forearm down, lift your heart, and as the belly spins from left to right, take one more breath in, a bigger breath out, and now lift both heels high, lift up through the heart, and when you find your next breath, lower all the way down to the earth. Knees, belly, chest, a pillow with your hands as you close or soften your eyes to rest. A full breath in through the nose and a long, clear, steady breath out through your nose or mouth. Now, after a few breaths, come up to tabletop. You can sit back onto your heels, sip some water, shake it out. Warm? Great. Weather says it's going to be 40 degrees tonight. 40. I'm like, is that too much for windows open? Are we here already? So we're softly roasting from the inside, comfortably toasting from the inside. Okay, so like I mentioned, we're going to do a few more back bends. But before we get there, I'd like to feel blessed. I'd like to feel a little more space in the belly and up into the chest. So come to sit on your tush. Have one of your blocks close by and swing your legs out in front of you. As you bring your butt to the earth, feet out in front, we'll take a few rounds of breath in boat pose, in Navasana. So start with your hands to the backs of your thighs. Keep your heels down and shrug your shoulder blades towards each other to lift the heart. There's so much to do here, so I really invite you to stay here. Sometimes harder to stay still than moving. Or if you want to explore some balance, lean back to lift your feet up off the earth. See if your toes can come in line with your gaze. Before you release the arms, if you want to release them, press your thighs into your hands. Let the weight of your legs feel heavy. You might feel the hip flexors soften, but then lift up through the chest. Stay right here breathing. Or maybe you release your arms towards your heels. Maybe the legs straighten, maybe the arms straighten, but 3 big breaths. Send each breath in, down, and wide. And every exhale, lift up through the heart. Take one more full breath in. See if the toes can come in line with your gaze. And now on your exhale, release. Lower your feet to the earth. Either windshield wiper your knees from side to side or give your legs a squeeze in towards your belly or chest. But just take notice of what you feel and see from side to side. All right, let's do it one more time. So the option, stay still. Do exactly what you just did, breathing. Or for some more dynamic movement, we'll go from boat pose to half boat, Navasana to Ardha Navasana. I like to have a block between the thighs because it gives me something steady to squeeze into so I don't feel this in the low back. You also don't need to use the block, but let's all start with the feet on the ground. Hands behind your thighs. And as you lift your heart, stay here, breathing. Maybe you lift your feet up off of the earth. If you have the block between your legs, give it a squeeze. If you're moving into that more dynamic movement, release your arms by your sides. And now inhale to reach the heart towards the earth, feet forward. Exhale to lift up and away from the ground. We'll take 3 more breaths wherever you are. Inhale to lower. Big exhales to lift. Big inhales get longer. As you exhale, grow taller. One more inhale to grow long. Big exhale to lift. Stay here for 3. Squeeze the block. 2. Lift your chest for 1. And now lower your feet down onto the earth. Ditch the block. Bend your knees, bring your feet down. For reverse table, bring your hands behind your tush and let your thumbs face towards the front of the room. Now keep your butt down as you scooch your hips towards your heels. And as you lift up through the chest, take a breath here. You can stay here. We're looking for this broadness through the heart. Or if you want to add more weight into the arms and feet, push through your feet to lift your hips up. Push your palms apart to lift the back of your chest. You can look at your knees, or without cricking the neck, slide the throat back to look up to the sky. But take one more, push down and forward through your legs to lift your hips. Push your palms down and apart to lift your chest. And now slowly lower your butt all the way to the ground. Cross your ankles, rock it back forward. We'll meet in table. And take it all the way back to downward facing dog. Now slow and steady that breath. Take a longer breath in and a full, clear breath out. And now let's tie together a few things we've done before. On your next inhale, float the right leg up and back. Step it through or around to catch your lunge. Spin your back heel to the floor. And one more time, rise to come up to warrior two on the second side. With the right knee and toes pointing ahead, look away from the ground. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, descend into that front thigh. And now push the right leg straight. Get long in each direction. Trikonasana, right hand to your block or to the floor on the inside or outside of that front leg. Now feel those feet on the ground. Give them a hug in towards each other. As you hug the feet together, press down into that right hand and grow taller up through the left fingertips. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, a side stretch, sweep that left arm forward towards the front of the room. As you reach through the left fingertips, press into the left pinky toes and slide the ears back to lean back against yourself. And now on your inhale, lower the hands back to the earth. Bend your right knee and step it back to downward facing dog. The request, I haven't forgotten it. We're going to make our way towards wild thing, an option. On your next inhale, float the left leg up and back. Bend your left knee and open through the left hip, just like we did in that three-legged dog. Stay right here. Or as you spin your right heel to the right, you might start to tap your left foot behind your right, all the way to the floor. Bend your knees, turn all 10 toes to face the long edge of your, or the short edge of your mat, like reverse table. And as you push through your feet, lift your hips up. Push through your feet to lift your hips up. Maybe left hand to your chest. Maybe left arm overhead. See the floor, touch the floor, and then come all the way back through center. Spin yourself back to take it to downward facing dog as you lift your hips to the sky. Snuck that one in on you. You doing okay? Take a breath. Notice what you feel and see. All right, lower the knees for a second. Sit back onto your heels. Sip or two of water. Kayla, you mind turning the fans up just a little? So there's many versions of two versions of wild thing that you can do. Some of them, there's one where your feet are parallel, which is the one I just taught. That gives me lots more space in the low back. And there's also one where one leg is straight and one leg is bent. So that one looks like this. Here. One leg is straight, one leg is bent, and you lift your hips to the sky. Some people love this one. If you like this one, please do that one. For me, it creates a little tightness into the low back. So I always like to do the one where your legs are like that. Remember we did the reverse table a second ago? Where you spin, you bend your knees, you load your legs, and turn your toes to face the long edge of your mat. And then as you push through your feet, that's what lifts the hips up. You push through your feet, and maybe your chest spins open to the sky. You can look at the floor. You might say hi. You might touch the floor, see the floor, and then come back through center. But when the feet are parallel and the knees are bent, it creates an even rate of curvature in the low back where it doesn't give sometimes you get a little pinch. Should we try the other side? Last side, and then some more back bends before we come to lie down. So take your way back, find your way to downward facing dog as you lift your hips to the sky. A breath or two to let yourself arrive. And now on your next inhale, lift the left leg up and back. Step it through or around to catch your lunge. Spin your back foot to the floor. And on your inhale, rise, warrior two, for a breath longer. With the left knee and toes pointing ahead, look away from the ground. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, descend into that front thigh. And now push the left leg straight. Take a breath, get longer. And as you come to Trikonasana, left hand to your block or to the floor, in or outside of that front leg. As you feel your feet on the ground, give them a squeeze in towards each other, as if the right foot could pull forward and the left foot could pull back. And then as you slide the ribs back, the ears back, and you lean back against yourself. A bigger breath in. And on your exhale, side stretch, sweep that right arm forward towards the front of the room. Press through the right pinky toes as you grow 1 inch longer through the right hand, and then lower the hands back to the earth. Bend your left knee, step it back to downward facing dog. Options. You can lift the right leg up and back. Bend the knee and open up through the hips. Stay right here breathing. Or as you come up onto your right fingertips, spin your left heel to the left. You might tap the right toes back behind you. And now bend your knees a lot. Parallel your feet towards the back of your mat. And as you push down and forward through your feet, lift your hips up, 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 up. Maybe the right hand comes to your chest. You might look to the floor, see the floor, touch the floor, and then inhale to come all the way back through center as you step the right foot next to the left to take it to downward facing dog. A full breath in and a longer breath out. And now from your down dog, lower your knees all the way to the floor and slither fully onto your belly. Have your therapy balls close by. We'll use them in a second. If anyone needs some, Kale can bring some over to you. But just place them off to the side. Make a pillow with your hands. Rest on your forehead or on one of your cheeks. Close your eyes and just call yourself back to your breath. As you lay here on the floor, there's that very physical boundary of the literal floor beneath you. Can you feel your breath expand into the earth? And notice the more you breathe into your belly, how it broadens the back of your body. The more you breathe into your belly and then up into your chest, it broadens through the low back and the back of your heart. So as we take that breath, we'll come into 3 rounds of Dhanurasana, bow pose. One of the weapons that this warrior goddess held in one of her many arms was that bow and arrow. And the story goes is that it always struck its mark, regardless of where she was, regardless of what universe she was on and where the demon was, it always hit. So we'll take 3 rounds. We'll do 1 round unbound. We'll get some therapy balls into the thighs, and then we'll revisit the 2 rounds to see which version of yourself comes out. So for this first one, bend your knees, flex your feet, and like you did in Locust, reach your arms alongside of you as you flip your palms down to the earth. Now before we lift up, feel your thighs on the ground, hug them in towards each other. Hug your shoulders to shoulder blades towards each other. And now on your inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, float your arms up off the earth, and exhale to lift the heels up to the sky like you could raise the roof. Hug your inner thighs towards each other. Think heels and big toes up to the sky. And as you hug the shoulder blades together, lift your palms 1 more inch. Take a big breath in, and on your exhale, release, lower down. Rest on your cheek. Rest on your forehead. You can wiggle your tush from side to side or windshield wiper your legs. But listen for the full depth of your breath. And now before we go into those second 2 rounds, let's get some therapy balls into the thighs themselves. So you can take the therapy balls, one out of its tote. And once you find it, place it right above your right knee, somewhere at the bottom of your right thigh, anywhere you can get curious about. Once you find the therapy ball at the base of your right thigh, make a pillow with your hands, get as comfortable as you can. Stretch both legs back behind you. And at your pace, begin to bend and straighten that right knee where the therapy ball is. As you bend and straighten the knee, just see if there's a difference in sensation. And now with the right knee bent, let the right knee move to the right and foot to the left so you come more to the inside of your thigh. And then knee to the left and foot gently to the right so you come to the outer thigh. And now continue on your own, letting the knee go back and forth. Stretch both legs back. That left leg, let it be heavy back behind you. And as you unclench your fists, your fingers, your jaw, can you feel the full depth of your breath? A longer breath in and a steadier breath out. Now, after a few breaths here at the bottom of your right thigh, draw the right knee back through center. And you can use your hand or wiggle yourself back, but pull the therapy ball up to the middle of your thigh, just slightly higher, somewhere new and different than where you just were. Rest on the other palm or on your other cheek. And as you get comfortable, start to bend and straighten. And now let the knee go from left to right, inner to outer thigh. Take long, full breaths in through the nose and clear, deep exhales out through your nose or parted lips. Let all of that breath go. Last week's story was all about every version of Durga's weapons and how she had the weaponry that she needed to defeat all of the demons she encountered. And we here, as those that practice yoga, the most powerful weaponry that you have is the fullness of your breath. It gets you through, around, and beyond the seemingly impossible. So can you feel it here now? And after you spend a few rounds of breath in the middle of your thigh, pop the therapy ball out, stretch your legs behind you. We'll do the second side in a moment. But just take notice of what you feel from one side to the other. There's the you that you were, the you that you are, the you that you're making space to become into. And as you feel any difference between the right and left leg, can you send your breath in and down into the memory of the therapy ball? And exhale to offer all of that breath out. And now we'll come to that second side. You can take the other therapy ball or the same one and start right above your left knee or the other leg, base of your left thigh. Pillow with your hands. You can rest on your blanket. And then on your own, begin to bend and straighten the left leg. Do that a few times, moving at your own pace. And now the next time you bend your left knee, there's no rush. Let the knee go to the left. And then to the right, inner to outer thigh. See if those fingers curl up and clench, if the jaw tightens, if the therapy balls slip away from you. Really offer every ounce to your breath, in through the nose and out through your parted lips. There's sometimes when people ask in class, like, oh, my low back feels sensitive. Can I roll the low back out? And my answer is always, as long as it's not sharp-shooting pain, definitely. But I find when I roll the thighs and when I roll the glutes out, it creates more space in the low back than just rolling the back out itself. Because all of these muscles are interconnected. They all thread and weave into each other. And they create more space than there might have been before. But it might feel different for you, so you get to explore. So after you've spent some time on the bottom of your left thigh, we come up slightly higher. Rest on the other palm or the other cheek. Get as comfortable as you possibly can. And start to move, bend, and straighten, and let the knee go from left to right. After you spend some time in the bottom and middle of your thigh, pop that therapy ball out. We'll use them again a little later, so you can set them off to the side. Stretch your legs back behind you. Close your eyes and just take notice of what a difference feels like from one leg to the other. as you take a deeper breath in and a longer breath out. And now this is the hardest part of class. You're more than welcome to stay here, laying on the floor. Doing movement after therapy balls is the hardest uphill battle. But we'll take that space that we just created in the thighs to find 2 more rounds of bow pose, Dhanurasana. So when the time comes, bend your knees once again. Reach your hands back, either alongside of you, or you might let your hands catch your feet. But before we lift up, press your thighs down, hug your inner thighs towards each other. And now as you inhale, lift your head, lift your heart, float your arms up off the earth. If you're holding your legs, lift your heels to the sky and push your shins back to lift your chest. Let your eyes close or soften and really listen for your breath. Hug the thighs towards each other, the memory of the therapy balls. Push the legs back, lift your heels up to lift your heart 1 more inch. Take a big breath in, and on your exhale, slowly release as you lower all the way to the ground. Rest on your forehead, rest on your cheek, wiggle your hips or stay still as you listen for the full depth of your breath. A bigger breath in, and a longer breath out. And now we'll come in for the last and final round. You can do anything that we've just done, unbound or bound. You can also lay here on the earth. We'll meet you there in a moment. But as you bend your knees, if you're moving towards Dhanurasana, reach your hands back for your feet. Press your thighs down, hug your thighs towards each other. This will clear space in the low back. And now as you inhale, lift your head, lift your heart, push your feet back to lift your heels up towards the sky. Keep hugging those thighs towards each other to clear space in the low back. And now push your right leg back into your right hand, lift your right heel 1 more inch. Push your left leg back into your left hand, lift your left heel 1 more inch. And now as you push both legs back into your hands, lift both heels to the sky, take 1 more breath in. And on your exhale, release, lower all the way down. Rest, listen for the breath. And underneath the sound of your breath, you might be able to feel for and listen for the beating of your own heart. There's versions of yourself that you know so well that have brought you to where you are now. There's versions of yourself you're still making space to become into. And as you feel the capacity for all of those aspects of you here on the earth, take another breath in and a full, clear breath out. And now take your time to press yourself up through to tabletop, only to be able to flip over onto your back with your heads facing the front of the room, feet facing towards the wall behind you. Have your therapy balls close by. Have your strap close by. You may or may not use it as we start to move about. But as you come to lay on your back, bend your knees and bring both feet onto the earth. Slowly begin to windshield wiper your legs. Can you turn the fans down? Windshield wiper your knees from side to side to let the low back, the belly, and the hips soften. And as you move from side to side, can you go at tempo with your breath? So with each inhale, the knees come up through center. And each exhale, the knees drop over to the other side. Go 1 or 2 more times to even yourself out. And now the next time the knees come back up, give the right leg a hug in towards your belly or in towards your chest. Make those circles with your right foot or the right ankle. You might move clockwise or counterclockwise. And now an option, you can either interlace your hands behind your right thigh or find your strap and bring it around the ball of your right foot as you begin to straighten your right leg up towards the ceiling. Give yourself enough slack on the strap so that your elbows can touch the ground on either side of you. And as you shrug your shoulders to your ears, wiggle those shoulder blades towards one another. Take a big breath in and a longer breath out. And now straighten your left leg long out in front. Bring both edges of the strap into just your left hand and start with your right palm on the top of your right thigh. Give yourself a little manual pressure. Can you press your right thigh away from your belly towards the back of your mat? And as you shrug your right shoulder up and back, begin to move the right foot 1 inch at a time over to the left. Keep peeling the right pinky toes back as you press the right thigh away from your belly. You might feel that more in the outer edge of your right hip. Take a bigger breath in and a longer breath out. And now stay here with that right leg hovering high up off the earth, or just watching for neighbors and props around you. Maybe that right leg gets all the way heavy to the left. You might slide a block or two underneath that right thigh for the supine twist. But can you let both shoulders soften down to the ground as you take a deeper breath in and a longer breath out? Now slowly soften your right knee, slip it out from the strap, and swing both legs long out in front of you. And take notice of any difference that you feel from one leg to the other. And as you give the left leg a hug in towards your belly or chest, start with those circles with the left foot and ankle. Just see what it feels like to have your left foot up off the earth. Spread or point the toes as you take a bigger breath in and a longer breath out. And now if you did so on side one, you can find your strap and lasso it around your left foot. Give yourself enough slack on the strap that your elbows can touch down to either side of your body. And as you straighten your right leg long out in front of you, bring both edges of the strap into just your right hand and start by bringing your left palm to the top of your left thigh. And when you give yourself this manual adjustment, you press your left thigh away from your belly to the back of the room and start to move that left foot 1 inch at a time to the left. You'll feel sensation in the outer left leg. Can you peel the left pinky toes back? Shrug the left shoulder up and back. Stay here for the remainder of the time, or let gravity, let the left leg move to the right with maybe a block or two underneath that left thigh. But take a full breath in through the nose and a deeper breath out through your nose or mouth. And on your next inhale, release the leg from the strap. Swing both legs out long in front of you as you give yourself a hug. Draw your knees in towards your belly or in towards your chest. Make any circles moving in one or the other direction. You might lean a little from side to side. But we've done so much asymmetrical work from one leg to the other. See what it feels like to have both legs moving simultaneously. Stay here, come towards your happy baby. Let your hands catch the backs of your thighs or your calves or the pinky side edges of your feet. But as the back of your head gets heavy and your tailbone softens, take a bigger breath in and a longer breath out. Now release the hold of your legs down onto the earth. We'll make our way towards rest next, where I'll invite you through a few rounds of pranayama. So give yourself some time here. If you'd like to add or remove any props or layers, you might have that rolled up blanket underneath your knees to let your low back really settle further towards the ground. You might have one of the blankets draped over your thighs to help you ground into the earth. Perhaps you let your hair down or let your glasses settle safely off to the side. But if there's anything you can do for yourself to become even 1% more comfortable than you are already, please feel free to take it. But as you drape yourself here onto the earth, I'll talk you through a few rounds of pranayama, of some breath work, to prepare the body for rest and to call ourselves back down to the earth. You're more than welcome to just listen, and I really invite you to follow along at your own pace. But for this viloma pranayama, this interrupted or suspended breath, begin by taking a long breath in through the nose and a clear, steady breath out through your nose or mouth. Take that once more, a way to reset. Breathe into your belly, breathe into your heart, and exhale to let every ounce of that breath go. Now with your lips closed, picture your next breath in 3 separate parts. First inhale, breathe just into your belly, gently pause. Next inhale, fill up the lungs and the sides of your waist. Hold for a moment. Third inhale, fill up into the chest. Pause at the top. And then exhale through the nose to let all of that breath go. Hold at the bottom as we begin again. Inhale to fill the belly, retain. Fill the lungs, hold. Fill the back and front of your heart, pause. And exhale through the nose to offer all of that breath out. Hold at the bottom. Inhale, the belly expands, retain. Fill the lungs next, hold. Fill the back and front of your heart, pause. And exhale through your nose to offer the breath out. 2 more times, following your breath. Inhale to fill the belly, pause. Fill the lungs, hold. Fill the back and front of your heart, pause. And exhale through the nose to let all of that breath go. One last time. Inhale, the belly fills, retain. Fill the lungs, hold. Fill the back and front of your heart, pause. And exhale through your nose to offer that breath out. Without any holds or pauses, take a breath to fill the belly, the heart, the throat, the crown of your head, and exhale to let every ounce of that breath go. And as you find this slow cadence of your breath, can you let each breath gently dissolve the practice that was? Each breath lets you arrive to where you are now. And each breath that comes after makes space for what has yet to come. So as you let your breath continue to let you become heavier into the earth, the heavier you become, the more expansive, the more spacious you may just start to feel. begin to deepen your breath. Take a longer breath in and a sweeter breath out. Take another breath in, down, and wide. And as you exhale, let all of that breath go. Let your breath begin to awaken the body that you're in and the very being that you are, with any gentle movement that just feels sweet to you. You might roll your wrists or ankles in one or the other direction. Perhaps you tip your head heavy against the ground from side to side. Or just watching for any neighbors or props, you might reach your arms away from your legs or draw your knees in towards your chest. But when the time comes, we'll all meet with the knees bent, arms overhead, as you roll over to any side of your choice to curl into yourself. Take a breath or two here, and as you push down into the ground, come up to rise to a tall seat, the same way we started. With your eyes softly closed or softly open, can you once again listen for that breath? Take a deep breath in, down, and wide. And as you exhale, offer the breath up and out through every direction of you. Our time together will finish with one more of those breaths, followed by the sound of one Om, the reminder that your voice, unwavering and steady, can be combined in the harmony of all of those around you. You can gather your hands one last time to center anywhere that feels for you. As you take a deep breath in, to let it all go. Inhale in for Om. You might bow your head to your hands or gently lift your hands to your head in such a sweet and simple gesture of self-reverence, bowing to yourself and to one another who practiced right alongside with you. And with all of our hearts, Kale and I bow to each and every one of you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Drink lots of water. Great to be in great company with you all. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon. There's a couple more stories for the rest of October. If there's any things that you used from the studio that you want to wipe down, there's some wipes up here. And the two announcements I got. My sweet dad is here for another week. He goes back to India next Tuesday. But he's playing a free concert at Studio 34 on Sunday from 7 to 9. He's going to play the tabla and the classical Indian flute. His friend will be playing the harmonium and singing. And his other friend will be playing miscellaneous percussive instruments. And together they're all singing, they're performing classical Indian music, music through India, the history of it. And it's going to be the sweetest thing in the entire world. So if you're free, I will be there, would love to see you. You can gossip more about him or what it's going to be. And then next weekend, our beloved Rupa comes in virtually to talk about the Bhagavad Gita, ancient text of yoga. It is just, this will be the 5th year that I hear her, and she's just such a great gift. So it's all virtual. She's phenomenal. If you have any questions, come find me. But otherwise, I think that's it for me. Kishan, our beloved, is here, who has an event on Thursday at More Vintage.
Yes, I have a vintage store around the corner. Thursday night we're doing an artist talk. Feel free to come by.
Thank you. More vintage archive on the Instagram. Everything is so beautiful. It's painful. Anything else? Anything else you guys have going on? Things you want to share? Things that are happening in your worlds? It's October. It's October. Okay, I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Is next weekend like training with Rupa too, or no? Is that a different?
It's she comes in for training. Yeah.
My brain is like.
Me too. Warped, fully warped.